Hi. Before I ask my question, for the record, I have 6 cousins who died from the booster. I mean, within days, weeks. Heart attacks, blood clots. 3 of them were siblings. But my issue here is, well, let me start off by saying I am a member representative on behalf of the Food and Water Watch in the lawsuit against the EPA under TSCA regulations regarding the science documenting the developmental neurotoxicity of fluoride, consistent with the fluoride in water systems. I have medical reason not to consume fluoride. And I've been told by the chair of Board of Health that people like me are collateral damage. I like to say that medical mandates are politics pretending to be science. They suppress the science, they silence the voices of experts, and they stifle the voices of victims. So I'd like to know what your position is on fluoridation and what you will do about it.
So I have to admit, I haven't followed the data on fluoridation in quite a while, but I do know that going back like 15 years, there were real concerns about health consequences of fluoridation.
Well,
so
let me advise you to go to fluoridelawsuit.com.
Okay.
I'm an analyst.
Great.
I have compiled an annotated bibliography of science published since 2015, peer-reviewed, published science in credible medical journals about the damage to thyroids, kidneys, immune system, etc.
Great. That's really important, and in my view, that's the kind of research that independent, watchdogs and consumers should not have to do ourselves. We deserve to have regulatory boards that are acting in a precautionary fashion, and they don't do that right now. And I myself was very involved in trying to get certain toxic pesticides off the market. I worked with a very large public health coalition for maybe 10 years, working with Physicians for Social Responsibility, which was kind of my reference group at that time. They used to do a lot of work on toxics. And we finally got this one toxic pesticide, so-called Dursban, also known as chlorpyrifos. It's been off the market now for maybe 10 or 15 years. We finally got it off the market, and everybody was cheering and celebrating. And then I thought, oh, great, one toxic pesticide down, 450 more to go, and it only takes us 10 years and like an act of nature in order to move our regulatory boards to act on our behalf, not on behalf of the chemical industry or whoever else is benefiting from this. So, I think we need a fundamental overhaul of our institutions so that we are watchdogs. That's what they're supposed to do, but they're not. They're usually defending the profits of the
most definitely. I do hope you look into fluoridation. You can start with fluoridelawsuit.com.
Great. Thank you very much.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Hi, Jill. Good
Hi.
to see you in Portland again.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask a new version of a question I mentioned to you like 9 years ago, and you don't have to remember. So I really appreciate your full-throated pushback against the military-industrial war machine police state that we've constructed over the decades. To kind of focus it pragmatically, in the scenario when you get that 26%, you're the president-elect, and then the transition happens. And the Pentagon officers and the espionage types, they line up outside your door one by one, and they're going to do a full court press to get you to back off from your 50% cut idea. So as a pragmatic matter, given how Washington works, do you have any thoughts on how you're going to navigate that transition?
Absolutely. And this is why a grassroots movement is essential to get us into the White House And then a grassroots movement is going to be essential for every priority that we undertake, because it's not going to happen without all of us. Barack Obama broke all kinds of barriers to get into the White House, but then he sent his ground troops home, and he said, your work is over. And how did we know that? Well, the first thing he did was appoint Larry Summers, the architect of the Wall Street meltdown, who had repealed the Glass-Steagall protection for banking, basically for commercial banking. He who had done that under Bill Clinton was coming back under Barack Obama to deal with the Wall Street meltdown. So it was pretty clear where this was going. And, goodbye ground troops. But, that's because he had corporations behind him, and that was his goal. That's not my goal. I didn't give up my life, my life as a health provider and a mother, in order to just let the world go to hell in a handbasket here. This is about saving our lives and our children's future. And for us to do that, we're going to have to do it together. So everybody's on notice right now that if we turn the White House into a greenhouse, nobody goes home. And so how do you go from that? How do you go from a grassroots movement to changing the Pentagon budget? How do you do that? We have to bring back town hall meetings so that our congressional representatives and our senators who no longer meet with their constituents will have to do that. And the White House at least has the bully pulpit, and we can hold their feet to the fire and help empower communities to demand that their elected officials represent them, so that we are not squandering our precious tax dollars on the war contractors, which is basically where the Pentagon money goes right now. Instead, we're cutting that budget and the Pentagon budget, and we're putting those dollars into healthcare and education and housing, and bringing up a common floor across the country for our public schools. Why should your quality of school depend on your zip code? No, we should have a common floor. It should not depend on the property tax in your community. We should have a common floor so that everyone, has quality public schools. We can do that when we start cutting the Pentagon budget. So the president is always considered, the commander-in-chief. Well, for us, the president is going to be the organizer-in-chief, who helps us ensure that we are flexing our muscles as everyday people in our community, instructing our elected representatives in what they have to do, because that's what they're supposed to do, is represent us. And it's not only the town hall meetings, it's also congressional hearings, so that we're restarting the likes of the church committees. And, we are shining a bright light on what exactly, what happens with this Pentagon budget. Not only that they lose the money, they can't say where it's gone, but even look at the rest of it, like these 70-some regime change operations that we've conducted around the world since the Second World War. This has been an absolute disaster, and creates the failed states, the mass refugee migrations, just the utter chaos that's going on around the world. We are not in a state of global affairs right now that's going to last very long. The U.S. thinks that we are the monopolar, the unipolar power in the world, and we walk around the world like we are the bully in the china shop, and we are trying to dictate policy to Russia and China and and India and Pakistan and a whole lot of countries around the world who are not buying it anymore, and they now have a more powerful economic alliance than we do, and we are just running into these very dangerous confrontations around the world. There are 3 of them right now. In the words of Jeffrey Sachs, whose endorsement we just gained last week, basically, he says that the Democrats and Republicans are in a race right now to see who can get us to World War III soonest. It's like you don't have to have a whole lot of special skills and policies to just be head and shoulders above these war criminals who are heading up the other parties and who are also leading Congress. We have an incredibly depraved political system right now, which is dragging us all down with it. So, that's kind of where we start, and that's how we will move forward, one issue at a time, On day one, by the way, the genocide ends, and that doesn't take any congressional action. That just takes sanity on the part of the president, who has the power to stop this by picking up the phone. Go ahead.
Dr. Stein, welcome back to Maine.
Thank you.
We
It's
missed
great.
you.
It's great to be
I'm
here.
glad you're here. Could you talk to us about how we build successfully to secure a woman's right to choose
Oh, great.
on a national basis?
Yes.
How do we get there?
Yes.
Thank you.
So it's a travesty that we are here right now, that we are having to fight to recover the right to choose where the states are not providing it. So the main message I have here is, remember what happened under Richard Nixon, one of the most conservative, reactionary presidents we ever had. We achieved women's right to choose, basically pressuring to achieve a Supreme Court decision from a very conservative court under a very conservative president. We got women's right to choose. We got the EPA. We got the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act. We stopped the war in Vietnam. We did that because we were mindful of our power. We have that power right now. We absolutely have that power. Certainly on women's right to choose, there is an overwhelming support to protect women's right to choose. And Congress could have enacted that. The president could have enacted that. Both Biden and Obama promised it was going to be their first priority, and they promptly forgot about that because it's such a good fundraising issue. But they could have they could have codified Roe at the federal level. That could have been done a long time ago. So that's one thing which will be a priority, is for us to push for codifying women's right to choose. And again, how do we do that? We do that by pressuring our elected representatives, holding their feet to the fire, holding town hall meetings, and so on. I don't think it's fundamentally different from the rest of the agenda, and in many ways it should be even easier because people are so impassioned and there's so much support for it. Thank you for that question. Okay, great. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Jill.
Thank you.
My name is Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
And I come with two questions, but the first one comes to mind. As a mom of a special needs child, how can we fast track educators instead of our governor here in the state of Maine is asking that we just take in bodies to fill positions so that they will have I consider it not having education with validity at that point. So I just would like to know, can we ask maybe the Department of Education to, think of a way to fast track as a nurse? There was some fast tracking that just happened in the last 10 years. And I think that educators need the same type of, guidance on that.
Absolutely. So Ashley's question, in case it didn't get picked up on the live stream, is, and Ashley is a special needs child, is the parent of a special needs child?
I'm a parent of special needs children.
Okay, parent of special needs children. How can we meet the very urgent and compelling needs of special needs children? There aren't enough teachers, there aren't enough special educators in our school, and, this is a really glaring problem. This is a fundamental human rights problem for children. We need good qualified teachers, and for special needs children, those needs are all the more urgent because there are challenges. It's not always intuitive how you can help provide support and education for special needs children. So we badly need special needs educators. And yes, this should be a no-brainer, and this is an absolute priority. This is part of our educational priorities because so many children now actually have special needs in our education system. There are so many ways that our education system is failing all children, and especially special needs children. So this is inexcusable that those needs are just really being neglected, and these families are being thrown under the bus. So absolutely, that's an easy one for sure. Did you have a second question, or did that get covered in there?
I'll ask it after.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. And let's see. I think we have another question coming up.
Yes, indeed. First of all, hello, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I've got two very practical questions.
Great.
Right. Based on what I've heard today, looks like everything hangs on two things. One is New York. All right. So here's my question on that. You taking up a collection after this is done? I'll give you a boost.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. So
Yes,
that's the first
yes, thank you so much.
All
I'm gonna
right.
give a round of applause for that.
And I'm going to encourage
Absolutely.
everybody in this room to do the same thing.
Yeah, great.
All right.
Yeah,
Second
thank you.
thing is control of Congress.
Yeah, yep,
All right. Are you folks developing a field of candidates
yes, yes.
to vote the present gang out?
Yeah, yes. Okay, great.
Could you add some detail on that? please?
Yes, absolutely. So we don't have enough candidates to constitute a majority, but we certainly have enough candidates to form a strong, a strong group within Congress. But we're going to go beyond that, and that's where this whole notion of president as organizer in chief, because we need to force our representatives to do the right thing. And what will force them, well, there's always money. We don't have that money. And in fact, we intend to remove that money so that we have public financing of our elections. We're not there yet. It'll take a little while to get there. So we still have to deal with this very corrupting influence in all of politics and in Congress. So two things there. Again, it's the bully pulpit of the president who can call out and shine a bright light on elected officials who are taking money from APAC or from the health insurance industry or from big pharma, who are not serving our interests, to be calling them out, to have congressional hearings so that, people can count on the truth coming out. We have to fight this through transparency and accountability, and then having our hearings in town hall meetings, so that again people's feet are being held to the fire, so we can drive responsible decisions on behalf of everyday people, everyday voters who are going to be hearing about it in real time. This isn't just a secret that's going to be kept until the next election. As these bills are being discussed and debated, town hall meetings are being held, and your reps have to show up and have to face their voters, face the possibility of a recall if they are standing in your way. Let me say, we also hope on day one to initiate antitrust proceedings against big corporate media that kind of dominates the airwaves right now and that protects business as usual. We need to break down the corporate consolidation of our media so that we have debate and discussion, and we don't have journalists who are mostly practicing careerism and they are being lapdogs instead of watchdogs. We need the media to be discussing this, not simply providing cover for the usual suspects. So those are some of the things, but it will take all of us, and just know that come November, whatever it is, 7th or 8th, you're not off the hook. If we win, we're all on for the fight of our lives that will go on for quite some time. But it'll be so worth it. We have to make this happen.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.